Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
It's embarrassing. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed about that question, but you thought obviously it's good. I enjoy every day of it. We're giving our supporters some joy and some belief and some hope.
You know, there's no law. There's no one's going to die.
Yeah, bin it, mate. Just bin the whole idea. Just forget about it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast. The magic of the cup, Will. Nothing like it.
I remember a few weeks back when we were going through the fixtures for not one of the rounds, 2 rounds before the quarterfinal, maybe. And one of them, we had to. Do you know Coventry are still in the FA Cup? That's mad. Little did we know the joy they were going to bring us over the next few weeks.
Yeah, that could be the name of this podcast. Little did we know. Or little do we know.
Little do we know.
Little do we know. Is there time to change it after 4 years?
Change the branding.
It was another Man United collapse. But this year, it's not collapse as in they've been up and they lose. It's like they win, but then everyone's embarrassed afterwards, you know. It's like a kind of a spiritual collapse. Like that wasn't good though, was it? Like we can all look ourselves and be honest, that wasn't good. I've never seen such a call for a manager to be sacked and like the morale so low. And I've seen Man United get beat 7-0, 6-1, 5-0 by their closest rivals in their own stadium. This was much worse. It must be a record of games that sum up a season for Man United. I don't know how many times
every game has been their season.
People just keep saying this sums up the season, sums it up. Classic stuff here that you're ahead, in control, then out of nowhere it all falls to shit.
Because going into the game, I was saying on the pod, I was like, I have a bad feeling about this. This is all the hallmarks of a terrible game. When we were 3-0 up, I thought, I'm not celebrating yet. I'm not putting anything in any group chats.
Definitely not. It does remind me of last year, the Arsenal's unlikely run. That anybody who was an Arsenal fan wasn't saying a word till 90 minutes was gone. Because I don't believe yet. There's nothing to base my belief on. This year maybe a bit more, but still it's like nothing like last year, where it was like, this is completely unprecedented. There's no way that they're going to see this out, and they continually did. But that is what United fans feel like this year now. Where it's just like, what's going to happen next? 3-0 up, but what's happening in the next few minutes that's going to ruin that? And sure enough, it did.
Because for most teams, they say 2-0 is the most dangerous lead and all this, or 2-1 is the most, as in 1 goal can change the game. It goes doubly so for Man United. 1 goal can change the next 50 minutes.
Yeah, I thought it was strange. I was seeing Harry Maguire score a header from a set piece. Okay, this feels like 4 years ago almost. This is like a while ago.
This is too easy. Something's up.
Way too easy. Maybe they have this one in the bag, but I mean, the second goal was a bit of a strange one for Coventry, where it kind of looped over. You get those, but I think because of the second goal, that was like momentum. It's written the stars, and then for Man United, it's the opposite. It's like, oh, here we go again. We're gonna bottle this somehow. But I mean, the penalty. Did you think it was a pretty fair penalty?
It's one of those ones where if it wasn't given, I'd be like, yeah, that's fair. With it being given, it's like, yeah, I guess so. I don't really know anymore because again, I don't see how he could have possibly stopped it. He wasn't even looking the direction the ball was coming from. He had his back turned, and I've never seen it before where his arm was behind him but also outstretched, but he wasn't looking, so he had no idea what was going on with his arm. So it's like, then you might give away a penalty if that happens.
Yeah, a weird coming together rather than a normal coming together, so therefore penalty.
Yeah, exactly. It was also, that is Man United's 5th last minute penalty in the last month that they've given away.
Yeah, that's not good, is it? That's the opposite of what they used to do.
Yeah. That is insane. The fact that normally in the last few minutes, the whole game plan is header everything out. Don't even let them in the box. You're letting them in the box so much that you're giving away a penalty a game. Yeah.
And well, speaking of penalties, Casemiro obviously inspired by Bruno Hernandez with his Panenka attempt. Very similar, too strong for Panenka. Didn't sell enough, and the keeper just kind of saved it. It was very weird.
It was very odd. Again, similar to the Silva one, where it took an age for him to take his penalty. So he was probably walked up being like, "Oh, Panenka," and then as time goes on, he goes, "Oh, maybe I'll hit hard down the middle, actually, or maybe."
Yeah, the way the goal said it was quite funny because he was diving and then he realized he didn't have to dive as much, but was still in the air and just kind of like very dramatically saved the one that came.
He was sent the wrong way and had time to recover.
One thing I saw, Will, last week, that wasn't Bruno Hernandez's first, Bernardo Silva's first ever penalty in football, which everyone kept reporting.
Yeah, there's no way it was. I was thinking that.
Not that we're obviously going to look that up, but I did think it was weird at the time, you know. But because I saw someone, fair play to these people who have this kind of attention span, attention to detail. He took one against Kep in the Carabao Cup final, or Carabao Cup.
You go.
A couple years ago against Chelsea, I think it was. And then they showed a clip of Kepa talking on the bench to London, like he always kicks it straight down the middle. You know?
Every time, 100% of the time.
So yeah, and it was the reason that he didn't get the ball back quick enough is because when Modric missed the first one, he led it into the crowd in frustration.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Genius.
Yeah, was it frustration or was it like, oh, I'm gonna kick it away? And then obviously some tourist who's in the city stadium was like, oh nice, I'm gonna go and hold the game ball, you know. I was like, give it back.
Give it back, you're ruining our season.
Yeah.
Why should I?
So yeah, Silva inspired penalty by Casemiro wasn't enough to help Coventry through. They had someone who missed a penalty there as well. So I mean, yeah, a bit unlucky. I did think, you know, when you draw the game to go to penalties, it's always in your favour because the momentum's at you. But yeah, Man United won, much to Antony's delight.
Yeah, it was mad. I think I can't remember who was saying it. One of the pundits was saying like, I feel like he just doesn't get it. You know, like get being a Man United player. Which normally when pundits say shite like that, you're like, whatever. Like that's not a thing of like, oh, he doesn't get it, the feeling. But I actually was like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't understand the standards and the level you're supposed to have in the slightest.
Yeah. Why was he doing that to the Coventry players? Do you know?
I think it's because they were celebrating, and I do know one of the Coventry players shushed the United fans after scoring his penalty because they were shooting into the United end. So obviously he was getting a few things shouted at him and he just shushed them. But I don't think Antony's like, hey, don't say anything about our fans again. I think he just, we won.
It's very strange. Again, like when Holland put it in, there was something else to be fair, but he ran the fastest and the quickest. And when you look at the screenshot that's going around, I think it's him. He's cupping the ears. I don't know what players that smile. I think it's Jada Silva is like looking at him like, you are like the guy from Coventry.
You play for Man United, weirdo.
He's looking at him smile like, is he cupping his ears at me or the team, or like he's like shocked about it. But no one else is running. Harry Maguire, you know, is going over to shake hands like, sorry about that.
He made a beeline, to the Coventry players to be like, I guess to be like, I'm so sorry for putting you through that 120 minutes. You should not have come back into that game.
And the other Man United players just stand there like probably in relief, like thank God we didn't lose that. Can you imagine what they would have said on X, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like running with his cupped ears. I think he looks around and there's no one else running, kind of slows down to a jog. That is like, this is more of a relief thing than a celebration thing. Again, up 2-0 UK mod. I was up 3-0 or 2-0.
Up 3-0. It's been the story of the last few weeks where they're doing well or they're doing okay, and Garnacho gets hooked. And he looks very annoyed about it. He liked some things that Mark Goldbridge was saying on Twitter about it during the week.
Yeah.
And he got punished. No one said what the punishment was. But he gets pulled off, and he is like Man United's only counter-attacking threat this season, I'd say. And then they lose all semblance of any type of control or threat in the game, and they go on to lose or draw. Yeah. And that's what happened again here.
He didn't even take a penalty, Anthony.
No, he didn't. Unless he was like, I'll take the sixth one, boys.
I think that's a really bad form to not take a penalty and then like celebrate in the team's face. Like you didn't go through anything. Insane. That's really bad form. Like that's just like, not getting it to the, utmost degree, really, isn't it? Like that you didn't go through anything. You're cupping at a lower league team. It's like, do you not get this? This is the ultimate punching down right now. Like, this is Really not
it's
on.
a miracle that you didn't just get your manager sacked. Like,
Yeah.
and you're like, what are you saying? Say it louder. Don't cup your ears. It's loud enough already.
Yeah. Everything they've been saying is still true after this. Nothing has been proven to the contrary. Yeah, I don't know, maybe last year, this year, you're like, he's a streets will never forget player. He could be.
Oh, he's lost that tag.
Well, I don't know what he is. Like, he's a very strange player in that I think the only reason we talk about him is because he plays for Man United. You know, he doesn't warrant being talked about because of his play. He doesn't even do anything that like, controversial, far-leaning allegiances. He doesn't tweet anything that controversial. Like someone like Mario Balotelli used to do kind of mad stuff like lighting his bathroom on fire. What's to light on fire in a bathroom? Like, how do you light tiles on fire? You know, he was an enigma of a player. You'd also say he wasn't that good. You just talk about him because of the crazy stuff. Why we talk about Antony? Like, okay, this is a bit like funny. I like the turn around in a circle and stuff. But like, he gets all these eyes on him only because he plays for Man United. If he played for like Villa or Tottenham, people just like forget about him. He'd be benched and he'd just probably disappear in a year or two and no one ever remember him even, you know?
I think it is. Now, for a while there, I was like, no, he's not the worst signing in Premier League history. But as time goes on, it's like, I think he might be, because just the amount of money spent for, like I said, such a nothing player. Like, doesn't, if anything, it's a detriment when he's on the pitch. And it's like been proven over a long time now. It's not a spell of form. Even when he's at his best, it's still like, yeah, but it'd be nice if you could go on your right foot. Like, it is really annoying when you do that. So, yeah, I think it's just because he's so expensive. He's just like the next in the long line of, can you believe Man United bought this guy?
He feels like someone, if he was playing for Tottenham or Aston Villa or something like that, United would have this target in the summer, which they wouldn't get. And then they'd spend money on Antony. And it would like, this is not what the manager wanted. This is not what anybody wanted. He shouldn't be there. He doesn't get played. There's a whole big fallout. It's like, we're trying to get fucking Gnabry, okay? But we got him instead. You know, that's what it feels like Coventry is. But he was Ten Hag's first choice. You know, it's insane.
The negotiations went so poorly that they spent 40 million more than Ajax asked for him.
Yeah, I don't know, was that lost in translation or what? But I mean, I guess, like I say, it's not even a PR disaster. It's a nothing. He's a bad player. He's just a player who's seemingly not up to the standard, to the level, and is quite rude as well. Yeah. Like, what is that? That street won't forget, or is that someone that what is that? There's no really comparable player, you know?
I think he's entered his own world now, his own genre of player of streets will never forget, but not because of his talent. You know what I mean?
I think he's a player that he's a stick that people used to beat Man United with, like Jemba.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like Jemba, good signing. You know, Antony, great signing. He's the modern day Jemba is what he is. You know. Yeah, I mean, how do you fancy their chances for the final, Will?
Oh my God, I've no hope for him. That's what I was thinking the whole way through the game. It's like, why are we even like trying to get back into this game? What do you think City are going to do to us?
Well, it depends when the game is, Will. Is it after the Champions League game? Because they might have a chance.
Yeah, it depends. Hopefully City have played 7 games that week and Man United can slip through the cracks.
Now it's a final. Anything can happen. Although last year they scored after 13 seconds, so the omens aren't good. But you know.
But speaking of that, actually, one player who I think the only player on the pitch for United, Onana, had a big impact on that game because he was very good in the penalty shootout.
Yeah,
even taking 2 yellow cards.
Yeah.
Similar to Martinez, who did the same thing a few days earlier. Surely now that's a rule they'll change. Now that's happened twice in a week, where goalies realise, oh, there's no consequences during the penalty. I can do whatever I want.
Why does that happen? That like something like that no one has ever seen. Someone who's like a commentator of all my 60 years of commentating football, I've never seen this. And then someone else goes, oh, that's good. Yeah. It always it happened like twice in a row in the same week. If anyone didn't see it, Martinez got in the Europa League or Europa Conference League, I should say, got a yellow card in the game. And then during the penalty shootout for just being, Martinez got another yellow card. And the panic on his face, the fear in his eyes, like, oh shit, I didn't mean to get a yellow card. I was trying to, push right in the edge, but not over the edge. And the ref has to calm down the Aston Villa players. Like, no, that's not. The rule is that this is a separate competition, this penalty shootout. The game ends as a draw. This is a new thing. So yellow cards don't cross over. So You can be a little bit more annoying, and then you're sent off. And then Onana saw that and thought, that's a good idea. Why not do the same thing? You know, they probably will change it now for next year.
Onana said after the game that he spoke to the referee before the penalty shootout to clarify the rule, apparently. And the referee assured me that this does not carry over. It's a separate thing. And that's all he said about it. He didn't like finish the sentence being like, so it was a real dick during the penalties then.
It would be funny if the ref gave him red, just straight red, like, fuck it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Prick.
Well, now you knew what you were doing, so it's much worse. So it's a straight red, yeah. But the reason I bring him up is because he had a good penalty shootout, but it just reminded me of all the penalty shootouts under De Gea, where he'd just like fold into himself. He wouldn't save anything. There'd be no yellow cards or talking or anything. It's just, it really does make a difference when at those moments when you have a lad who just has a big ego on him. Yeah,
no, for sure. So it was City on the other side, as we mentioned. They were playing Chelsea. You didn't give them a chance, Will. And
I didn't, yeah.
I guess for good reason. You know, the reasons that you didn't give a chance are the reasons they didn't win. Because they're not very good at football. Is that fair to say? Is that a bit mean to say?
It's fun. It feels like no one was talking about Chelsea at all season. But now it's like they're the stars of the show because they're in so many big games.
Yeah.
And then like they're always so entertaining to watch because something will go wrong, someone will play terribly.
Yeah. It was very funny watching that game because they had a lot of chances. Anybody who saw the game or saw the highlights. And the first half, every time they would get in, City were kind of like half jogging back, like be serious. Like they're obviously outside. There's no way they've actually got onside here. They're not good enough. And they would slowly jog back and like, come on, waiting for the whistle to go, which would never come because City were so confident they're playing such a high line that they're running from their own half. So City like, that was offside. Like, well, technically it would have been if you were in your own half, but because you're so far up, they are getting chances here. And they kept missing them. I mean,
yeah.
I think probably fail comp of the year goes to whoever made that Nicholas Jackson one. It's got pretty funny edits in there. Check it out for sure. I mean, he has a lot of good stuff to work with going in. That's what makes it such a thing. There must be, 2 definite goals he should have scored. Definitely. Like there's probably 5 or 6 chances in there that are like, well, you know, the header, I think, the second chance from that, like he has a chance where he's one-on-one, coming in from Kyle Walker, breathing down his neck. And it's one you might see like Henry or Kaká score, but this is a high level, you know, to kind of curl around the keeper. He knows he can only go a certain way. Then the ball comes right back in and there's a free header. And I was like, that should be a goal. That one should be a goal.
He was still thinking about the first miss. He didn't think that ball was ever going to come back.
Literally, yeah. You're still thinking the first miss, aren't you, Jackson? Yeah, I am, yeah. And then the one in the first half where he rounded the keeper and it was just kind of about getting your feet right.
The keeper, yeah.
It looks easier than it is, but I think he could have gone around the keeper in a more economical way even. He kind of kicked a bit wide. I don't know. There's 2 chances there. He could have taken the first time. And then there's 3 or 4 other chances. There's like times where he just falls over. There's time where he's too slow. There's time where he kicks the ball away. Time where he doesn't pass the right man. It's just every aspect of the game he got wrong in that, you know. So it was a really bad performance by him. As always, I think it was the same against Liverpool. You know, the players that are playing, they're starting, they're not finishing. All right, let's bring on these other really talented players we have that come on, like Mudryk and a few others. And they get on the pitch and there seems to be like no direction for them. They don't really know what they're meant to be doing as a cohesive team. And it's like Mudryk takes up a kind of generic forward position, gets the ball and might go by a player and puts it into an area where no one else is expecting the ball to go because no one's thinking on the same wavelength. Like, I get the sense that Mudryk doesn't know what Chilwell's first name is.
Yeah, I could see that.
Do you know what I mean? I think he probably sees him. Chilwell, you know, what's my first name? Mudryk. Whatever your first name is, Mudryk. You know, I think there's no team there at all. They don't seem to be like joined up when players come on off the bench. It's like, this would be an impact sub if you had any kind of structure to what you're doing, but it seems to be just kind of, I'll just have a go, I guess. And even though City were not at their best, they were well able to kind of deal with a fast player, you know.
There was an amazing shot after the game where we talked about loads. Thiago Silva, the utmost professional that he lives to win, was in tears after the game because, you know, that could potentially be the last final he could have ever gotten to, you know, at this level. Like I'd say probably not too many more left in him. He's in tears. He can't believe it. They were so close, only a goal. And then the camera, you can kind of see behind him, Madueke laughing his ass off, talking to some of the City players. Couldn't care less. It's just the ultimate sign of what is going on in that squad. Again, the last time we saw Madueke, he was more upset about not being allowed to take the 5th goal penalty than he is about losing this FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah, no, he doesn't care at all about it. Which, again, like, that's not coming from anybody other than Thiago Silva. That's his own personal pride. That's his own professional pride that he's like, I wanted to win this game. Madueke is young, right? So you wouldn't hold that against him. It should come from the club. It should be like a dressing room thing that we all want to be, we all care about this. So, yeah, look, a young player, whatever, he's not, a Chelsea youth or anything like that. So, I mean, you wouldn't expect it from him. But you expect it to come from the club and to say, this is what we're building here. This is why we come in to train every day to do. And it's clearly not there. So, he doesn't care. But, I mean, why would he care that from there? It needs to come from the club. And it's clearly not. So, I mean, it's another, a win, a 6-0 win for Chelsea. This is terrible. Get to a semi-final FA Cup. This is one of the worst days of this team's career. I mean, it's everything points to, there's obviously talented players there, but it's really not going to end well for them.
Obviously, he's young and Madueke and why would he care so far? But it's the thing of your recruitment goes out and finds the players who will care. Do you know what I mean?
That's true
I'm
too.
sure, some of the Ronaldos or Rooney's that United signed over the years, they were mostly signed because of, Jesus, these lads are freaks. If they lose, they'll really fucking lose it. Do you know what I mean? They have such high standards where it's just, these lads are like, I've got the 8-year deal. What do I care?
Yeah. No, that's why, youth players are important to teams as well, because they grow up in it. And they...
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the Phil Nevilles, who are almost radicalized by Man United, who think everything. Yeah. I remember he was doing those player cheers with Guardiola. One of his earlier podcasts, where they used to watch old Man United games with Man United players, which once they ran out of the class line too, that was kind of end of that show. But they had Phil Neville on, and they were going over late stage Phil Neville of his Everton career. And he was talking about Cahill, and he said he had the heart of a United player. And I was like, this guy has been radicalized. He thinks United is the pinnacle of football and of standards and of thing. And again, it is kind of what we're talking about. That's what I'm calling for. It's you should have these kind of these are the standards. We are kind of, better than everybody else. We prepare better. That just seem to be at the forefront of people's minds at Chelsea anyways, So, yeah, you need some Phil Nevilles in there, not just Madueke's, maybe not go for the most talented player all the time,
There was nearly every week, Pep gives us something to talk about. And he spoke after the game. And I will say, I think this is the most likable Pep has been in a long time. Because he spoke about the madness of the fixture congestion and why are we playing early Saturday when we played midweek? Man United didn't play and they're playing Sunday. It's an easy fix, and it's more just a collective of the fixtures are insane. This can't go on.
Yeah.
But if he had have done this speech after they lost, it would have been one thing. I think winning the game 1-0 and still giving the speech is okay, this guy actually does care about this.
Yeah. I mean, should we play the clip?
Yeah, we'll play the clip.
For anyone who didn't hear it, this is the clip.
It's unacceptable. It's really unacceptable. Coventry, United, Chelsea don't play in the week. Let us play today. Next week, on Friday, will be better.
Yeah.
Instead of Saturday, put it on Friday to
Did
have
you
less
feel
recovery.
unfairly treated?
It's impossible. It's for the health of the players.
Yeah.
It's not normal. Honestly, it's not normal.
Yeah.
So because I win, I have the courage to tell you in the fit I will shut up. But it's not possible. This is unacceptable to 120 minutes. All of you are football players. The motion to Madrid, the semi-final, the way we lose and everything. And so, honestly, I know this country is special for many things, but it's for the health of the players. So they are. I don't understand how we survive today. I don't understand.
Yeah. Have you raised that issue officially to the Football Association? Have you raised that issue, that you're concerned?
Gary, do you think an hour demanding is going to change something? The only power I have, I say here, is not going to change anything. I know it for many years. But why you play today and not tomorrow, one day off, when Coventry, United, Chelsea don't play in the midweek?
Yeah, I mean, he said there, like, I have the bravery now because we won. Because he knows, like, if you don't win and say it, it's kind of like sour grapes, you know?
Yeah.
And I think because that most people were from the replies and stuff I saw, people were like, he does have a point, you know? Like, I hate this man with a passion.
Yes.
And I hope he leaves these shores forevermore, but he does have a point, you know? There are people who, you know, I think they see it as like, look, it's sport. You win some, you lose some. Don't be whinging. Get over it. Get on with it. But like, it's not a sport really. Like it's a professional version of the game. Like there's been billions and billions of pounds put into this, and you know you are expected to kind of compete in all these competitions. Like you might think Pep has the run of the place, and it's like, he can be once, but I guarantee he has a meeting end every year, and they like review stuff in a really like professional, businessy way of like, well, what thing went well in this area? What can be improved? You know, do we hit the KPIs here? You know, like 100% that's happening. So like, if he just like, you know, he already had one is what it is. He gets one is what it is a week, a season. It seems like, you know, so he can't just go into those meetings and go, you know, is what it is. I guess he was like, well, the billions of pounds and especially when you are Pep and you get everything you want. Like if you're a Mourinho, and that's probably why he does this as well. It's kind of like, you know, a safety net. But like, well, those centre backs that I never got, that might have helped, you know. But if you're Pep, you get everything you want for every year. You can't go in and go, is what it is. You know, it's like that's why we hired you, so that we wouldn't have that. So yeah, like people say, oh, you're whinging, you're moaning, but like he did win, and I guess he does have a point. Now there were, you know, the other teams that play this weekend as well. But I think people look at it and go, well, it's City and they have the squad and, you know, whatever, you know, and it's funny because it's Pep, but like it could have been Arsenal, it could be Man United, it could be anybody else who doesn't have the squad. They could be in the exact same situation, you know?
If they're not speaking about it, if the top managers aren't speaking about it, then nothing will ever change. At least if they try, maybe somewhere down the line, the FA or whoever will take something on board. I think he spoke well when he was asked to, because that was put to him. It's like, do you not have like the best squad in the world, man?
Yeah.
And he pretty much said like, oh yeah, I thought about that of like rest of players, but last time I did that, we played Liverpool, they hammered us 3-0.
Yeah. That was quite funny. Because like, you know, at the top level, like if someone's not playing every week, like as good as Jack Grealish is, he's not as good as he was when he first came because he's not as sharp, he's not as confident, you know, so like, and that's the trouble with having big squads. It's like, how do you keep everybody happy? You know, like the money they can get anywhere, you know, so it's not even about that. It's, you have to keep them all fresh and all playing. And he's done a good job in over the last few years, but like, even I think getting rid of someone like Mahrez, you know, I know he was 32 now this year, but like, I think they kind of lack someone like Mahrez, kind of a real winger who like his main objective, despite all the stuff that Pep wants to do, is to score goals. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Sterling missed a lot of chances, but he was also one's like, I want to score goals. I'm not really into the kind of backwards passing, which is probably why those players left in a way as well. But if you have options on the bench of a Bernardo Silva for the first half, that's not working. I'm going to put Sterling on. He's going to run right at them. You know, that's the thing. But it's hard to keep all the players happy. They don't all want to sit in the bench and not play for the country and all that. So yeah, I mean, it is, I think when it's City, it looks at a different lens, but it could have been someone else, you know? I mean, Fergie did that, 1990,000 season where he did the challenge match in Brazil for whatever, rather than playing the FA Cup and they just like exit the FA Cup. And then from then he was like, right, well, I mean, I've kind of won the FA Cup with the treble, so I don't need to do it again. And really, because you had those same kind of end of year meetings as well, or end of year reviews. I was like, all people care about is the league and the Champions League. Like, no one really cares. The FA Cup and the League Cup are consolation prizes. And he recognised that and was like, that's how you manage a squad. You play the league and you play the Champions League, and the rest can be the kids, you know? So if that's what people want to get over, if they want people to get over and like stop whinging, that's what's going to happen, you know? Yeah, exactly. If you want the best football every game and the best teams, then the fixtures have to allow for it. You can't have it both ways of stop whinging, also stop playing the kids. Yeah, it'll be like the Champions League this year where the first few rounds of games were like boring, uncompetitive games. Like that's what the FA Cup would be. So when there's a weekend with no games, it'll be FA Cup. Like this is useless, you know. It's like, well, they got over it, you know. They manned up. They stopped whinging, you know. So I think it is this kind of thing with sport. And yeah, look, I get it to an extent, but it's not the same kind of game that you'd watch at home or a Sunday league or wherever, where it's like, look, best man wins the day. It's like, there is stuff that, like really high level sports science that goes into this as well, and rest and recovery is a real thing. And look, they've got me like defending City, saying they need more time to rest their players. This is the extent to which I've been turned to. But like, if someone makes a fair point, it's a fair point. Like, because again, exactly, it was what if it was Aston Villa? Do you know what I mean? Who were like pushing for the title and were late stage of the FA Cup, and then their whole season collapsed because they played too many games. So it's like, well, get over it, and then City win everything,
We saw with Arsenal last year. One Saliba injury in the Europa League. That was it. It was game over.
Yeah. And maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's good that the top 6 teams don't compete in every competition. Maybe pick one. Maybe it's a good thing.
They should have to choose one at the start of the year, and that's the only one they're allowed to enter.
Yeah. There was games though in the Premier League. This week I kind of flippantly said, obviously when there's no good games on the Premier League, and all you have is the FA Cup.
Liverpool and Arsenal were playing.
The only games you have is the FA Cup. Liverpool and Arsenal were playing in the Premier League, and they're back to the top, which just shows the level of dominance that City have over us, that we're just like mentally beaten down so much that they think just because they're now like 2 points clear top, it's over. It's over.
They're literally ahead of them in the table. Yeah. But it's funny that I couldn't believe this. That did you see the clip of Gary Neville saying to Peter Drury, like joking to him, he's like, "I'd say you were the only man in the country watching the Liverpool game when United was on at the same time playing Coventry." Gary Neville was doing commentary for the Liverpool game, and he was watching the United game, not talking.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they were like laughing and joking about it. I was like, if that was any other person in any other job, they'd be sacked.
That's why I'm just recovering from it, to be honest. I think there was only you left commentating or watching the Fulham-Liverpool game, I think.
Can't pretend I didn't notice that.
In the whole country at one point, Peter. There might have been a few people in Liverpool. But there was a 4-3 moment whereby it was offside, and I was watching it just waiting for, was it on, was it off? And
although that Liverpool fans probably enjoyed it then, less Gary Neville talking in their ears.
Yeah, that's true. Something really relaxing about this game.
That is pretty outrageous. It shows the dominance that Gary Neville now has in the media landscape, that he can get away with that kind of stuff and just saying it out loud.
I'll play the clip, but Peter Drury replies, he goes, "I noticed that, Gary, yeah."
Right on the same shift as the manager's son. It's like, yeah, I did see that was very funny when he did that thing that you can never be sacked for. That was good.
Yeah, that was good when I had to change the bailer again, actually, is what he said.
Even though it was your turn.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny when you skateboarded down the aisle. That was pretty sick, I will admit. Liverpool won and Arsenal won, so it's Arsenal, Liverpool 1 and 2, City relegated to 3rd. They play again now with no Champions League left to play for. So this is their main focus. As is Arsenal, as is Liverpool, so they're all out of the European competitions. I don't know what my point was there. I'm just trying to recall the last few days. A lot of football happened, Will. A lot of games.
Stop. There's games on right now, I'd say.
As you listen to this, there's probably games on right now. Yeah, Arsenal were playing Wolves, and they went up 2-0. Well, they went up 1-0, thanks to Leandro Trossard. Will, do you know who's a very happy gunner when that going in?
Who, you?
Let me play the clip.
1-0. Sorry. Trossard.
Oh, I love you! Okay. Was it a good goal? Did it say anything?
I have no idea. I just saw the one.
That was like the best entrance. Yes.
Sorry.
We're just celebrating.
We're both fans of the same team, and there's a match going on right now. And during our last interview, so
exactly.
Wait, what team?
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fabulous. Yes. Well, and
it's English Premier League soccer, and yes. We don't want to take up too much of your time.
Let's talk Arsenal, shall we?
Because we've had a rough week.
I know.
Anne Hathaway is about to go do an interview, and she gets the notification, and she's like, "Yes!" And he was like, "What's happening?" I just like, "Oh, it's just Trossard scored a goal for Arsenal. They're a team in the Premier League," and she says Premier League rather than Premier League.
Wow.
Which I was like,
real fan.
Who is teaching you these words? Every mark says the Premier League. That's just how they say Premier. So like, it's weird from to say Premier League, but.
Well, which did you enjoy more? Anne Hathaway revealing she's a secret diehard Arsenal fan, or Ali McCoist revealing he's a secret diehard Rammstein fan?
No, play that clip.
Yeah.
I'm a Sydney man.
Tell me that's not Rammstein. No way. Is that your phone? I'm going to see them in Germany before the World Cup. They're on in Germany before the World Cup. You don't like Rammstein. You set me up with that, haven't you? You don't like this. I love that. I absolutely love Rammstein.
Yeah, there's been a few clips of him. He's a big kind of metal fan,
Big
I guess.
metalhead, yeah.
Because you saw that the one, it was the camera's rolling during the Champions League footage.
Yeah.
And he hears the bells. It's like, I think that's AC/DC. It's like, what? But that's no way. No way that's AC/DC. Like,
no way they're playing AC/DC during a sports event.
yeah, it's like he's never
This is
been.
your first game, Ali.
Never been to a concert before. Where's that music coming from? What is this?
I know that.
Is someone playing a record? How is it so loud? Yeah, he's a very likable man, isn't he, Ali McCoist?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I saw those comments underneath those posts being like, it sickens me to my core as a Celtic fan, but he's probably my favorite person in sports media. Yeah, it's weird. People have different interests. So strange.
It's crazy.
You kind of have them pigeonholed as one thing, but they don't just shut down when the TV turns off.
I didn't know Ali McCoist liked metal because he doesn't have a metal podcast.
Yeah, that's it. Usually, if you have a hobby or interest, you make a podcast about it, promote it, get sponsorship, that kind of thing. Yeah, and the funny about that Rammstein one where he said, I'm going to see them in Germany before the Euros. So it's like, I hope he wasn't working out some kind of scam with the BBC. But like, I have to go early to lay the groundwork for it's my process. It's my creative process. Meanwhile, he's at Rammstein. Other games, other non-top six games, I guess bottom six. Who are the bottom six right now? Struggling for survival. There was a real 6-pointer.
It would have been a 6-pointer, but with all the deductions, I don't know what it works out as.
Yeah, there's been some kind of weird inflation or deflation of points. I'm not sure which, with Everton playing Nottingham Forest. The deduction derby.
Oh, that's good. That might be a title.
If anybody who would have been watching it, that might have been the title already. So maybe I'm already stealing this, but the deduction derby ended in a 3-0 romping home for Everton. Would it be fair to say the scoreline didn't reflect the game?
Yeah, on a different day, it could have been very different. There could have definitely been a red card due to an accumulation of fouls for a certain player.
Yeah, the big story around this was there's 3 penalties not given, 3 would-be penalties against Everton, committed by the same man.
Each time.
37-year-old
shithouse as well.
37-year-old Ashley Young. They were all borderline, I think. There was none like clear cut.
Yeah.
I don't know, like drag downs or like, this is handballing. I mean, we kind of didn't mention there, but like I said, the Jack Grealish handball in the FA Cup.
Yeah, he's in the wall.
In the wall. Like that was much clearer than any of the ones that Ashley Young did. But it's one of those things, like I said, accumulation. It's like after one, it was on the edge, like, oh, I don't know, probably not, but you should be careful. The second one, I was like, whoa, okay, same guy again. The referee gets in his head that this guy's struggling. They're getting around him. He's reaching. He's not on top of this. 3 of them go by, not given. A story of Nottingham Forest this season, to be honest. Partly why they're in this mess. Also, all those players they signed illegally.
The money. The money and the owner.
The money, the owner, the whole strategy of the club. But then also the decisions.
Yeah.
Because I was looking up there, the Athletic actually did a rundown. Did a quick rundown of all the different decisions that didn't go Nottingham Forest's way, which is pretty funny.
Wow.
It starts in August, Will.
Cast your minds back.
Cast your minds back to August. Joe Worrell got a red card and a penalty against Danilo against Man United at Old Trafford in August. Do you remember that game? Then in December, Willie Bolly got sent off against December, when he was on his second yellow card, despite replays showing he was more the victim of a foul than the perpetrator of one.
Never good.
This earned Forest an apology, but ultimately cost them valuable points. Then, if you remember not too long ago, in January, Ivan Toney and that free kick debacle when he moved the ball very clearly.
He cheated. He cheated on his return to football.
He manifested the ball a few inches to the right and it went in. Yeah. They should have had a penalty against Newcastle in February, as Iwano was brought down by goalkeeper Martin Dubravka. I remember that one as well, the Dubravka one. He had a few kind of howlers around that time. On February 7th, VAR surprisingly concluded that Forest should not be awarded penalties despite Nico Williams being brought down by West Ham's Maxwell Cornet. That was when they decided to appoint Mark Clattenburg, refereeing. They appointed him as the Nottingham Forest ref.
What the hell is that about, actually? Because I was thinking that.
Yeah.
What's he going to do about it?
Well, they have a breakdown here, Will. He's refereeing match and performance analysis. He writes pre-match reports on the officials for upcoming games. He also analyzes the big decisions during matches and feeds his opinion back to the Forest hierarchy shortly after.
That seems like...
Yeah.
That seems like it's against the rules of the game. He writes a report on the ref before the game.
On the different referees, what their pet peeves are, what they like, what they don't like, what teams they maybe support.
That is so insane.
Apparently they do this a lot in La Liga.
Where the massive refereeing scandal was.
Barcelona were paying a current referee, but Real Madrid worked with Mejia Davila. They worked with him since 09-10, the season after he retired. Performed the exact kind of stuff, analysis of refereeing decisions and that kind of stuff. And then when rules change, to kind of, okay, this is what they mean by this terminology. Because it's always quite technical, and it's like, apparently they do it in Getafe and Rivaldo and Atletico Bilbao. They all have ex-refs working for them. They're like delegates, and sometimes they welcome the officiating team to the stadium on match days, show them around the facilities, and kind of build
again feels vaguely against the rules,
and they build like a personal relationship with them. Just kind of like buttering them up a bit,
Yeah.
But it's the first time that a Premier League team has done it. Again, because I guess it's this kind of thing of you win some, you lose some, get on with it, stop whinging. But the league have taken much more kind of, hey, let's befriend these referees. Kind of put soft pressure on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had, like we said, the decisions went against them, and they came out with a statement. Not something we haven't seen this season. We saw Liverpool doing it this year. Arsenal, obviously, famously, it's embarrassing. It's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace. That was also a referee decision this year. So I mean, it's not unheard of this year, but they came out with a pretty strong statement.
Not one, not two, but 3 statements. A statement for each wrong they felt.
Yeah,
I have the 3 of them here. So the first one, which just by the way has 43 million views according to Twitter.
Yeah, it's explosive.
So I'm sure the FA will be thrilled.
Earmuffs the kids for this one.
3 extremely poor decisions, 3 penalties not given, which he simply cannot accept. We warned the PGMOL that the VAR is a Luton fan before the game, but they didn't change him. Our patience has been tested multiple times. Nottingham Forest FC will now consider its options.
Can we get a AI Tony Soprano to read that out?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm losing my patience, Christopher.
Yeah, I'll do that.
It is quite threatening, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Losing my patience is like, what's going to happen when you do lose your patience?
Yeah. Oh, he's losing it.
I'm warning you for your own sake. I'm losing my patience. Now it's fine. Look, we make fun of Nottingham Forest the same way you would make fun of another club, I guess. I guess it's one of those things that it does become a bit of a joke in itself when it happens so often. It's like,
yeah,
can you really be astounded by this? I guess the real takeaway there is that there's been an accusation of not incompetency, but club allegiances.
And not even just allegiances. Literally, what they're implying is the fan of the other team is the reason why those penalties weren't given. So it's like blatant cheating they're accusing the PGMOL of, which is, you can't be saying that. You got to skirt around it like Arsenal and Liverpool did, saying this isn't whatever this isn't acceptable. You can't be saying it's happening because of this.
Yeah. Should we play the clip of Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher and Louis Saha, given the other side of the view? It's a long clip,
so.
but
well, it could down.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll cut the major bits, but Gary Neville gives him what for?
It's like a petulant child. It's embarrassing. I mean, and some of those things that they're saying in there, the suggestion of some sort of inferring of cheating because there is an official in VAR in Stockley Park that's a Luton fan, is a scandal, and they will pay for that, and they will regret that as a football club in terms of their history and how they presented themselves. They've got to stop saying explore all options. Sue? Replay the game, take points back. What are your options? Your options are you can whinge a little bit if you want, you can be upset, but you haven't got any options. This is a sporting situation.
And the Premier League have got to come down really hard on Nottingham Forest and really stamp this out, because as you said, there was something with Liverpool at the start of the season, there was something with Arsenal, at Newcastle, and it just feels like it's building. Clattenburg being involved at Nottingham Forest, that's just a tactic to almost put pressure on officials in some way.
Has that fueled the fire, do you think?
Mark Clattenburg must resign tonight. He must resign from his job at Nottingham Forest.
Why?
Louis, the way in which you would historically challenge a referee and question them would be that a manager would go out there and he would basically take the fine for the club, and the club might support him in that fine by going out and saying it was a disgraceful decision, it was out of order. He would come on Sky and do an interview and basically go through the replays and say why it's out of order and embarrass the officials in that way, because the manager has got the biggest voice. Well, what does that statement change though, Louis?
No, what do you think they could change?
What does that statement change?
Take that, Nottingham.
Gary then they should come down really hard on them. It's like, come on, like, whatever about Neville, who is not an Arsenal or Liverpool associate, but you're like when Liverpool did this year, and I don't really remember his exact comments. I'm pretty sure it was in line with what he's saying now. But like, I just think that to come down really hard on Nottingham Forest, like, what's that going to do? Like,
yeah.
I mean, what their whole take was, I mean, Gary Neville's one is hilarious. It's like, just get Fergie to come out and ban ban the reporter from the press conference for life. That's the system. It's like, okay, first of all, not every club is as powerful as Man United, where you can have the manager just comes out. And by the way, the manager's Alex Ferguson, who can come out and says these things. Like, do you know who the manager of Nottingham Forest is, Will?
It's what's his name? Nuno.
There you go. Yeah, what's his name comes out and makes a statement. Everyone listens. Like, this is the thing. The guy who used to manage Wolves in Tottenham, he's going to come out and he's going to tear down the system. It's like, it's not going to happen. And
no one's going to listen. To
be fair to Louis Saha, he came out and said, but guys, this has happened already.
It's really bad.
This is a really bad decision. Nothing has changed. We've already done this. We've already had the sound bites of Arteta. He had 2 back-to-back press conferences, and here we are again, where 3 penalties should be given, they weren't. So Gary Neville, like, just do the thing. Do the official process of the manager coming out and saying insane stuff. It's like, that literally happened this year, nothing changed. So, I mean, maybe it is time to
that's
put out
happened
a statement.
so much this year. Like, so many managers have gotten fines or for, like, you can't be saying that about the refs. We were talking about the Wolves manager called someone a cunt.
Yeah. Yeah. The other takeaway then was he said Clattenburg needs to resign in disgrace.
He has to step down tonight.
Yeah, I think Trump kind of did away with that whole resigning and embarrassment kind of thing. That's done.
Oh, you can do whatever you want now. It'll blow over.
Which is something I always thought as a kid, when someone would resign in disgrace. Like, but you're like, you can just stay. Like, just who cares? That's
you were right all along.
Yeah, as a child, I had the right idea. Just stay there and pretend it's not embarrassing that you're still doing this. But Clattenburg hasn't responded to that exact thing. He hasn't said, I'm not fucking leaving. But he had come out and said, he kind of echoed the statement. Did you see this statement?
I didn't see Clattenburg's. No.
He came out and he said, referees do not make mistakes deliberately, but this was mind-boggling to watch. Why Atwell did not send Taylor to the screen, only he will know. Now, that's very pointed, I think. Only he will know why he didn't do that. I'm not saying anything. And of course, he would make...
I'm not saying it's corrupt. It is mind-boggling, though.
Also saying they don't make mistakes on purpose. Like, so it wasn't a mistake, but it was quite weird, Only he knows, though. Like, that's quite backing up what Nottingham Forest is saying.
Now, Nottingham Forest we saw in part 1 of their threatening statement said, we're exploring our options. Would you like to hear what their option is? They're gone nuclear. Do you know what they've asked?
Well, I heard that from Gary Neville, there are no options. You have no options. Be quiet. Stop talking. Shut up.
Well, to be fair, judging from this, I think he's probably right. Because what they've done is they've very sternly said, Nottingham Forest has today submitted a formal request to the PGMOL to release into the public domain the audio recordings between officials during yesterday's match against Everton at Goodison Park. Then they list out all the things they want. We advocate for the broader football community and supporters to have access to the audio and transcript for full transparency, ensuring the integrity of our sport is upheld.
Yeah.
We've seen this in the past. You're going to get the audio, lads, and you're not going to like what you hear because you're going to see, they were just incompetent. It's happened every single time. There's no conspiracy against you, lads. It's just really hard to be a VAR ref.
Yeah, release the tapes doesn't work, unfortunately. And that's, I think,
I'm looking forward to 3 more panic tapes, though. They're my favorite thing.
The last time the tapes came out, I was so panicked. Everyone's like, that is actually, I'm embarrassed for you. Like that you would actually run anything like this is quite embarrassing. And didn't they come out and they were like, okay, we're going to change it up and we're going to change the language. No more mate this and mate that.
They hired the ex-pilots or something
the air traffic controllers.
Clearly.
Yeah. To make it more clear.
I can't wait to see if that works tomorrow.
Well, this is the only thing now. This might actually be a good move by Nottingham Forest because if the PGMOL said they were going to do this and they thought it'd be fine, they'll all forget about this, and they haven't, and then the tapes are exactly the same. It's like, what the stuff you're going to do? Didn't do them. Thought you would just forget about it.
If the tapes that come out is them like panicked, but now they're also seeing things like bravo, bravo, really amazing.
Delta, Delta, Echo, Echo. Like what you said.
And that wasn't all they had to say, so they put that out.
Yeah,
and I think they knew themselves. They're like, "That's not very strong, is it? Like that's not very."
We can go
option.
deeper than that. We can go harder than that. Yeah.
So they put out a very long statement on skim through it. So they said, following yesterday's match at Everton, Nottingham Forest issued a statement highlighting our concern at the perception of the PGMOL appointment of VAR for the game. This was an issue we raised prior to the fixture because of the fear of the sideshow that would ensue if anything went wrong with officiating in the game.
Yeah.
That fear has materialized.
Your worst fears have come true.
This is not about individuals, not what you were saying.
No.
Rather, how the integrity of the game is seen. We know match officials do not allow outside factors to influence their decision making, and that all referees are required to declare their, in quotes, allegiances to PGMOL to avoid any conflict or harm to reputation or integrity. However, it's clear PGMOL must amend its rule on allegiances to account for contextual rivalries in the league table, not just local rivalries. This is currently not within the criteria, but should be. And they go on saying more stuff like that. But so it's interesting now. They're like, look, we know no one was doing this because he's a Luton fan. He was doing it because he wants us relegated.
Yeah, that came about because I think Howard Webb said, you never said that. You never warned me that he was a Luton fan and therefore he has to get taken out of the thing. Apparently they warned him that Nuno Espirito Santos might be questioned by the media after the game that one of the VAR officials is a Luton fan and that might not be a good look for you. And Howard Webb said, okay, that's thanks for the heads up on that. That's a bit of a reach, I think.
Lunatics.
What's going to happen in the game that's going to require this kind of microscopic inspection as to what the VAR people do? And lo and behold, Ashley Young almost gave away 3 penalties. I think it's good to play the Ashley Young interview clip. And again, it's more of a visual clip because the shit-eating smirk on his face. You can hear
the smug in his voice.
It's hard to describe. So we'll play the clip, and maybe in your own time you can look it up. But yeah, it's a great clip.
Actually, you're always very honest, and I know you were involved in a few of the penalty shouts. I think 3 of the 4. How many of them do you think were right and were wrong?
All of them were right.
Even the last one. I mean, look, most are saying that the one on Callum Hudson-Odoi, you're sure that you got a touch on the ball. That was the right decision.
None of them were given, were they?
But come on, what's that face saying?
It's saying none of them were given.
Yeah. Was that the biggest shout, do you think, out of the three, though? Did Callum Hudson-Odoi have any kind of claim? I know you had a conversation with him.
I think they were claiming for everything. And obviously, yeah, we were talking during the game. And I think the referee was spot on.
He also followed that up today with a quick tweet. He's obviously, this is the best day of his life.
Oh, yeah,
people are angry directly at him. And he won. Unbelievable. He put up a tweet saying, I think the exact quote is like, playing some throwback tunes today. And it was a screenshot of him listening to Cry Me a River by Justin Timberlake.
You know what he has, Will? The heart of a United player.
Yeah, 100%.
He still has it.
He still got it. Yeah.
They used to
punching down at all times.
They used to sign players like Ashley Young. Now it's Antony, you know. Yeah. Well, speaking of another player who could have at one stage, if he'd been left up to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if he had more power, Will, who could have the heart of a United player, Jude Bellingham. He was playing in El Clasico this weekend. Now they also played 120 minutes at the weekend, midweek against City, and they won. So maybe not as crushing, 120 minutes. But they had a big game too. They had the El Clasico at the weekend. This is a must-win for Barcelona. All Real Madrid had to do really was to draw or win this game, and they had a kind of title sewn up. Conceded 5 minutes into the game. So I mean, maybe there's something to what Pepper's saying, but lo and behold, they went on and they won 3-2, and Jude Bellingham getting the winner.
Yeah, a great goal as well.
A great finish, real kind of leader's goal at the end, sliding in with the finish. That kind of puts them, really in charge there in the league. It's not mathematically done yet, but I think it's done. It was 2-2, and Barcelona were going for the win, and they caught with the break. So it was just one of the things. Barcelona had to win this one. And even they probably knew the odds in winning the rest of their games wouldn't really track with how the rest of the season has gone. But they had to win this, so on they went. Had a great game. Lucas Vazquez.
I seen that in the highlights for the game when the commentator said, what a week Vazquez has. He hadn't featured much in the first half of the season. I thought, what? He's been unbelievable this week.
Yeah, I thought that was strange too, Will. So then I went over to Transfermarkt and looked at his details, When do you think his contract runs out?
Oh, it all makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
He's got 2 months left.
He's got 2 months left, and he's out, and he's 32. So he's going full Rosicky on us, and he's going, I can play football. I'm still valuable.
That's why he was doing the keepy ups before his penalty. Yeah, look how calm I am. Look how talented I am, everyone.
You can't buy this kind of experience. That's what he's trying to put across, It's a smart tactic if that's what your MO is, of just continuing your getting 1 year extensions. It's like the only really thing that matters is the end of the season. Champions League knockouts, Clasico, 2 games of the season. That's all you play well in. I mean, if you have the talent, obviously. But I just thought that was funny because I was looking like, definitely. There's no way that when the commentator said that, I was like, he hasn't featured all season. I was like, this is giving me flashbacks to Arsenal players who are just playing for a contract at the end of the year. They're on the road through the double. And looking good for England in the World Cup. Look like they have a real captain, leader, legend there, Will.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where he features on the pitch in in Gareth Southgate's squad.
Yeah, in the Euros rather than the World Cup, which we'll be covering in full.
Oh yeah.
We must be getting to one of those 100 days away type milestones yet, are we?
Oh, surely. When's it? July? Probably start of July.
You start in June. Final in July. You used to start
that's
full month of June and the final in July, and then you'd have a few dead weeks in between then for the Premier League to start again.
It's interesting that the first normal schedule international tournament in a long, long time, because obviously remember we had the 2020 Euros in 2021, then the Winter World Cup.
Yeah,
that's normal.
That's true. Actually, that's
14th of June. It's very close.
14th of June. Yeah, we'll be covering it all. If you want to get all the access to that. There is a link in the description of this episode. Follow that link to become one of the ultras of this podcast. You'll get all the extra Euro stuff. I mean, we still have Champions League semi-finals and final to cover. They'll more than likely be on the bonus episodes platform as well. So, click into that. Follow that if you're enjoying this episode. There's a lot more that came from. Huge backlog of other Champions League stuff. If you want to really get in the mood for the Champions League, and to all our bad takes, we've had a few this year. We're not getting any better at that. And also this week would be a good week to join because
there is about 1 million midweek games this week that we'll probably be covering on this week's Ultras episode. So
yes,
you'll get a little preview of it during the week like we normally do, but there'll probably be a good 45 to 55 minutes of pod you won't get unless you're an Ultra.
Yeah, real crunch time stuff. These kind of midweek games can change the whole look of the season. You never know, Will. City mightn't have it won yet, but if you want to get our full reaction to all those games, sign up to Patreon. And we'll be again recording this week as well. So, yeah, I think that's about it, Will. I don't know any more news we could fit in there. We didn't get to touch on the Europa League, unfortunately, as good as it was. But like I said, there's probably games happening right this second as we're speaking. So, I mean,
there might be.
Like I said, we'll see you Thursday for all the Ultras, and for everyone else, we'll see you Monday. And yeah, have a great week.
Good luck.
Gonna take you down, deep down to the front line.
3 extremely poor decisions, 3 penalties not given, which we simply cannot accept. We warned the PGMOL that the VAR is a Luton fan before the game, but they didn't change him. Our patience has been tested multiple times. NFFC will now consider its options.